Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bomber Banter. Welcome to the penultimate Fiona's forecast, round 24 versus the Blues. Take two. Lucky second last of the year. Enjoy it because soon enough there is going to be very little football content. But as usual, to bring in the Blues game, welcome solution for the second last time of 2026. How are you, friend?
Second last time, thank God. Not that I don't love this. Not that I don't love Bomber Banner.
Are you trying to suddenly send me a message here?
No, I'm trying to send our footy club a message. I think we all need a mental health break from Essendon. But do you remember this time last week you were talking about how you'd just been outside and had a wonderful stroll in the sun? What happened to the sun? It is freezing.
And it's looking like the skies are going to open up and pour down, rain down on all of us, Lady Gaga style. But yeah, I think we are headed for some beautiful, beautiful sunny days this week, though. It's going to reach 20, which for any Queenslanders watching, just ignore, and maybe Perth people, just ignore our excitement at getting a 20-degree day with some sunshine. But that's how we roll in Melbourne here. So it is looking pretty nice, although I see that it goes a bit yucky again for our game against Carlton at the G Saturday night. I think it's going to possibly be raining. But how are you feeling coming to the end of the season? Are you feeling like you're going to be more relieved than, sad to see the football go?
I'm not going to be sad. Yes, no. I will not be sad. However, as I said
Can
last week,
you sit forward a bit because your body is disappearing like you got the invisibility cloak on from Harry Potter and it's freaking me out. That's it. Okay, beautiful.
How's that? Yep. No, sadness is definitely not the word that springs to mind. As I said last week, though, I do view this as the start of 2026 pre-season.
Yeah.
This is really how I'm viewing the last sort of portion of our year. And again, we saw another great effort, actually maybe one of the best efforts of the season last week. We learnt more. Exhibit A, we know Menzies definitely been delisted. Can't kick a goal from directly in front, 15 metres out.
Times three.
But that's right. But we learnt more about the current list. Maybe we had a A-grade midfielder lurking in the back line who, just needed 100 and something games to just refine his skills in Andy McGrath. We're learning things every week. Brad Scott's learning things every week. They'll have a very difficult decision about players they're going to have to let go and players they're going to have to keep of those players that have come up and been playing in the last portion of the year. But to me, like, again, if you're not in the mix for the grand final, for the premiership, you're not in the mix for top four, or even to play finals, much better to be in our position where you've got a draft hand and you've got hope for the pre-season. So I feel good, man.
I certainly feel like the club, just what you said in terms of preparing, you're seeing the end of this season as preparation for the 2026 off-season. Well, that's certainly linking up with the club's messaging in terms of we're all saying, well, what's the point of getting Mackay back in? What's the point of getting Langford back in? What's the point of getting Sardis back in? And Brad Scott has said, no, we're not putting any players on ice. And to me, that's a message saying because if they can get a game or two to end the season, well, that's setting up, bang, they're going to be healthy, fit, firing, energetic for the start of 2026 preseason. Now, I don't think the dates have been released when the 2026 the preseason starts, but I suggested they'll be back sometime end of November, start of December, possibly, and then they break again for Christmas. So I think it's a really good strategy because I'm going to start with Cole Langford as the prime example.
Yep.
Cole Langford, to me, looked like a player who hasn't played a lot of football this year and has missed it. He was playing like he missed competing.
He really
He
did.
missed
Yeah.
the game he loved. He had a presence. It shows you don't need to be 200 centimetres to have a presence. His body language was exceptional. His leadership and his encouragement of the boys in the forward line and the midfield was exceptional. He was pointing, directing. He was strong and fierce in his convictions and everything he did. And he just looked like, and I thought to myself, now I get why Brad Scott is not putting them on ice, because now Kyle Langford goes into preseason. Maybe he plays next week and maybe he gets 3 games to finish this season. But 3 games for a competitor, for an athlete, is not enough. They want to keep, especially when you've missed so much AFL football. So that now he goes into the preseason with a bit of like energy and spark and like, I want to get into the 2026 season now and I want to be the best and I want to be better. So sometimes you've got to take away that old saying, you don't know what you got until it's gone. Sometimes that needs to happen. And if Ben Mackay comes back in for a game or 2 to finish this year, well, he goes into his preseason with that taste. It's just on
Bit
the
of
tip of his
momentum.
tongue.
Yeah. Yep.
He didn't get the satisfaction out of this year, so he's more motivated for next year and doing everything he can and taking the training to the next level. So now it all makes sense. If you read between those lines, there's method to the reason and method to the madness that we think put him on ice. But that's just halting, as you say, momentum and I don't know. I thought it's a great strategy and I love it from the club.
And I said this on our podcast, to those people that claim that, this strategy that we've sort of enacted of playing youth and playing debutants and focusing on the draft, which I still maintain is what we've done once we realised our season's cooked. To those people that say that fosters a losing mentality, look at what just one player out of that long injury list, one class player, can do to the entire team. Now, granted, St Kilda are mediocre, and they have nowhere near the list problems or injury problems we have, but they weren't full strength. But just having one guy, Kyle Langford, made a massive difference. We should have won. I think if the umpires hadn't have helped secure that draft pick for us, we would have won that game. So imagine, throw in Draper, throw in Mackay if he's fit, throw in Reed, Caldwell, Nick Martin, unfortunately, later in the season. But they're all in our best 22, all those players mentioned there. And I'm still hopeful with Reed. But there's no reason we can't turn this around really quickly next year.
Yeah, agreed. And it just doesn't ram home how vital it is to get their bodies right, and the strength and conditioning department almost becomes more important than the draft. Did you ever think you'd be saying that at the end of this year? It was all about the draft and the future, but what's the point of getting kids in if they're going to break down, if our strength and conditioning program is just going to wear them to the ground and not recover them properly? Like, this is almost the most important factor of the most important department of the football club, and it's the only department that hasn't turned over, that has not had a refresh since the new administration came in.
It's about to. So
that's right. But it's important that they get it right. And I have no doubt that they're going to do the very best, and they're going to make the very best decisions, and they're going to scour the planet and all of that. But it becomes vital, because look at what a healthy Langford does for a young team.
Yep.
And
what do you?
Yeah. Sorry, go.
I was going to change topic. So do you want to finish?
Yep. Happy. Yep.
So we know you've traditionally brought mail to the forecast. And
I have some, potentially.
Well, I was going to ask you, one person we mentioned was Draper, and I made a big assumption then that he's coming back. Do you have any? Do you have any mail? But if you don't, do you have a feeling? Because we know your feelings are usually pretty on the money as well.
Look, I think it's pretty relevant that we discuss him, given that we had the news yesterday, considering when this is going to be released. that Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira has turned down big money and big years from Adelaide and Port Adelaide and decided to sign with St Kilda. Now, I put in our group chat, Draper should take a look at that, and I have it on good authority that he has been. Now, the discussion from the coaches and the club has been the whole year. We've told Draper to take his time. It's a huge, important decision. We've told him to take his time, no pressure. But I'm told that is no longer the attitude. That we don't have a decision as yet, and now the club needs it. So they've maintained that attitude in terms of giving him space to make a decision, but now the club needs to know, and I think that is so fair enough, particularly because Draper is the domino for Essendon and for the competition. Because for Essendon, it means, well, we have to do some work in getting Brian. Does that mean Goldson retires? Do we pick up another ruck? And for the rest of the competition, well, if he's going to, say, Brisbane or Adelaide, do they have to then... He just starts the whole domino effect of the ruck merry-go-round for the competition. But for Essendon, which is really all we give a shit about, we need to start planning, and they need to start having conversations with the likes of Ned Reeves and any other rucks there on the market to see what we need to potentially do if we need a backup, or do we draft a young baby draft ruckman and put them into the VFL for 4 years to develop a la Vigo, and we have a clear strategy then for, when Brian hits the tippy top, and hopefully Vigo at that point is, really holding himself well and acquitting himself in as a second ruck or a first ruck when we need him. So I'm told that they are requesting and would really have put it on Draper now, requested politely, respectfully, and fairly, may I add, a decision.
Yeah, I think it's more than fair. And the longer it goes on, you have to think he's not signing, I would have thought.
Well, the Naz decision completely eradicates that argument. Naz waited all year and signed where he is. So the waiting, the longer it goes on argument doesn't, Darcy Cameron waited the whole year, it doesn't fly with me. It means nothing.
Most of our signings have happened mid-year.
Means nothing to me, the longer he waits.
Okay.
To me, personally, that means absolutely nothing. It's also relevant that Brisbane and Adelaide are still in contention. They're not focusing on list decisions and trades and drafts too much because they're in finals and grand final, particularly possibly with the forefront of their mind. Not to say that the list management team isn't doing their work, but we have a lot of space and energy to spend on that, whereas they're, as a club as a whole, they're working on, playing finals and hopefully grand finals. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm none the wiser about what he'll do. I will say that. I have no mail on which way he's swinging. I think anybody who claims they do is just trying to get a headline first. But I do know, they want an answer, which is fair enough.
Okay. So this week, have we got anyone to debut left?
Well, I've got some mail on that too. I'm told that despite there being a few little whispers about Kale Jarine, who's our last draftee to debut, despite being a few whispers that he might debut, I am told that that's not going to happen this week.
Okay.
From some spies at training who spoke to people and also from a few VFL watchers who just don't think he's anywhere quite near the level to be ready to come in. Not to say that means much because, as you said, we're learning and trialling and it doesn't really matter. But, you also want them to feel like they've earned their spot and not being gifted. And I think at this point in time, it would feel like a gift just because rather than he's earned necessarily the spot. So I don't think he'll debut. However, I am told that Ben Mackay is very, very seriously under consideration. I mean, very seriously training like he's going to play. Apparently trained yesterday like he's going to play. So take with that what you will. I don't know if that necessarily coincides with his brother kicking 7 on the weekend and potentially Laverty being sore, but I'm also told from training watchers that Laverty most likely gets up, and Lee McMahon is more than fine too.
Okay, that's great news. Well, I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to make a difference to draft picks now. I think we can play everyone who's fit and try and win the game against Carlton, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Does Davey get a game? He's like the only guy, the forgotten guy. Surely
You have
Menzies
to.
would drop Menzies and put Davey in just for shits and giggles.
You could, but then why not just play Oscar Smart? He's sitting on a 6-month contract. Given that Menzies played ahead of Oscar Smart, tells me that they're not going to re-sign Oscar. Because why wouldn't you just have him? They play essentially the same position. Why would you, if you've already made, or maybe I can't imagine that they're still on the fence about Menzies, surely. So why wouldn't you just play Oscar to see?
See if you can get that goal.
The frustrating thing is he did a lot of nice stuff outside of the goals. Strong tackles, some really strong positioning inside 50. Made a bit of space for for his fellow forwards. Disrupted a bit of St Kilda's kind of zone defence. But it's outshadowed by missing 3 goals. Unacceptable. Just unacceptable.
Yep.
So it's overshadowed.
It was awful. All right, so that's it on the changes. Nothing else.
I think so. Vigo could potentially come in, give Goldie a farewell game against the Suns, maybe.
So you think Goldie's gone?
I don't think he'll get another contract for next year. No.
Okay.
I think it would be negligible too, to be honest. Maybe if Draper doesn't. No, even then, I think we might try and, as dumb as it sounds, like we might try and go get a more experienced ruckman who's not 40. Who's like who's experienced.
We had Phillips.
Yeah,
and then we had and then we had Goldie. Before then, we had Zach. Was it Zach Clark?
Yep.
Yeah, we like to. It's kind of the retirement village type thing,
which is fine. Which is fine, but I think we might try and see if we can go a notch less aged than Goldie. But I would love for Goldie to stick around and, panning to him on the bench on Friday night. He's like a kid in a candy store. The biggest grin on his face. He's sitting there like he's living his dream. Yeah. And he's just having the time of his fucking life, just soaking up every minute. Talk about a guy just like living in the moment. He's just like just a big kid enjoying life right now. And, those personalities are infectious and a very good energy for the group. So incredible. I would love for him to stick around as a coach. But, I think that'll be it for his playing career. So I'd be happy if Vigo came in this week and you give Goldie a farewell against the Suns.
Well, we've got our backup. We've got our backup ruckman, Blackston.
Yeah, shit, I keep forgetting that he's a ruckman. Will he go back to being a ruck? I reckon there's something down there in the back for him.
I think he's got another year, and he'll get another year, and he may pinch hit in a few different areas. Play him at full forward. There's nothing he can't do. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
So Sitting Joe and Smoking Joe, what did you have last week?
I had the Smoking Joe, but I don't remember who.
We really need to write this down.
I should have by now, given that this Bomber banter is somewhat serious, I should have by now got into the habit of writing it down, but I haven't. So why don't you just pick a Smoking Joe against the Navy Blues this week? Archie Perkins was 100th game and Zach Merritt's 250th.
Hey, you got a word on Archie in his last couple of weeks? Let me ask you this. Are you impressed, or are you left like, okay, you've been okay, but where the fuck was this beforehand?
I don't know where I sit on that. Like, kind of structuring the answer in that way. But I kind of feel validated in my opinion that it's just it's in there, and we just need to get him in the psychologist's office and doing a lot of a really good amount of off-season work on his mental health and his well-being, because just for some content this week, I've been gathering a few little snippets and clips of him for his 100th game, and I tell you what, Archie with the long hair played with fucking spunk. I'm watching the highlights and I'm thinking, who the flippity fuck are you with this presence that you have, and the strut and the spunk and how it's been stripped away, and in place is this robotic, self-conscious player who is not in the moment and is thinking five steps ahead. What your coach is going to think about that, and what my speedometer is going to say, or the whatever it's called that's in the sees how far they've run, and he's just so in his head. And I look at that free kid with the flowing locks, and there's a freedom to him, and I think we just need to get him back to that place. And if that means you have to put in his contract that he has to grow the hair in order to channel that again, then you put it in his contract. So I'm just validated in that. I'm not ready to give up on him.
He lost his aura when he cut his hair. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, because he was conforming to, all of a sudden he's conforming to what society says is appropriate for a young athlete, and instead of embracing a la Bailey Smith, his eccentricities, his, bogan/surfer nature, and the hair and the mustache and the tan and the bright white teeth, instead of just surrendering and embracing who you are like Bailey Smith does, no matter the external noise, Archie Perkins has gone, well, that's a bit too showy, so I've got to cut the hair and I've got to be a good boy, and I'll get off social media and I'll delete the Instagram and never post, and I'll stop being me. Now, I'm okay with you growing and evolving and becoming a better person, but when that is based on external validation and not internal validation, so, how the media sees someone with flowing locks, and they always gave Dyson Heppel shit about his hair and how hairstyles have a place, and all of a sudden if you change your hair you're looking for attention, or it's narcissistic. And sometimes it's just about a player being who they are and expressing who they are in a certain way. So yeah,
maybe therein lies. Sorry to interrupt. Maybe therein lies the answer as to why Brad Scott played him each week. Or most weeks, and he was only dropped after a really string of bad performances, is that he realises the guy's probably overthinking it. It's mental. He is trying.
Yeah. And there's a balance. There's a balance in terms of the psychology of that. Is this, for this particular psychological problem, that it's like an identity crisis. Archie Perkins is going through an identity crisis, and I can understand the difficulty in how to manage that for a sports league. Dropping him to the VFL, what's that gonna do for him mentally, versus keeping him in and showing him that they have faith and it is possible to pull it together, and just having confidence and telling him that he's allowed to be himself. It is a tricky one, but I think they went the wrong way, in my opinion, from a psychological point of view, and I think he should have been dropped. But again, as I've said multiple times, not in a you're dropping because you're so fucking out of form and you're fucking up and you're letting the team down, but in a go get that spunk back in the VFL. We're okay. We'll pay a fine if you need to push a guy over or get him high or something. Like just go and prance around in the VFL like you're, what's the word in horsey talk? Like you're a pony at a fair, or you're a prize winning
dressage, maybe dressage, just like
but go and get 3,000 disposals and kick 6 goals and act like a dickhead afterwards. Just get a bit of that funk back.
Or how about you just chase properly, tackle.
But that shit comes after you feel it in yourself. Like when you're feeling yourself, that shit is second nature. The defensive, the chasing, because you're just like, I don't know, I look at Caldwell and Kako, and it's so second nature. They don't have to think about chasing or following their opponent.
Yeah.
It's like it's half a second, less than half a second, their mind is already turned defensive mode because they're just in the mode. They're in the momentum of just living in the moment, living, breathing football, and competing and success and being there for your teammates and doing the best. It's just that comes. Whereas Archie has lost the important spark, and then I think the rest of it will fall into place. But that's a deep dive into the psychological mind frame of Archie Perkins.
Yeah, it was almost like a couch segment.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a good way to try and avoid answering the question, who's going to be the smoking Joe? It's going to be Blackiston. He's going to play on Mackay and blanket him.
Oh, how good would that be? He'd be feeling himself really good, old Harry, kicking 7, albeit on a very, very depleted Port Adelaide defence. I'm just going to caveat that. But he still kicks 7, still got to kick him. But that's a good shout. Yeah, all right. Oh, no, the sitting Joe. I feel sad giving it to anyone because they were all very, very good. Maybe this is a cheap shot, but maybe I'll give it to... I'll give it to... only because it's probably an easy one, but I'll give it to Angus Clark, even though he was better on Friday night than he has been for a couple of weeks, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, he might just start to lose some wheels towards the back end of this season.
Yeah, I don't think that's a cheap shot. I think that's just a young player who's played way more senior football than he would have ever anticipated at the start of the season, and it would be natural for some of these guys to drop off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Right. So are you going in with any hope? What's your prediction?
Look, I had absolutely no hope against kind of St Kilda in terms of, not no hope, but I was pretty confident we were going to lose by a lot. Not a lot, but 30, I think I said 37 points. But we performed well. We had no right to be in the vicinity of that scoreboard, let alone ahead and let alone lose by 2 points. Absolutely no right. So I thought we were reserving that for this week against the Blues. But I do have some hope. I'm going to stick with my universe prediction in that I think the universe is setting this up nicely for a nice little end to the year dopamine hit for the boys. And I'm going to say they beat us by 8 earlier than the season. I'm going to say, and especially if Ben Mackay comes back, that just gives me a bit more confidence. I know he's been out for 13 weeks, but or hasn't played since round 13. One or the other. 13 is the number that was told to me today. I can't remember in what.
He hasn't been out for 13 weeks because that would mean.
Okay, so he last played round 13. Is the?
I think you're right.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to say 11-point win.
Really?
With not a lot of confidence. With not a shit ton of confidence. Look,
are you
the
going?
Blues. Yes. Look, here we go. The Blues beat up they've been shocking form. They beat up on the weekend. They beat up a very depleted, terribly performing Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium at a very pristine deck, very in perfect conditions. They, Alia went down, who was playing on Harry Mackay. They were depleted, no Horn Francis. They beat up on the team, but you still got to show up and get it done. They were, their strength lies in the middle. They're still, albeit they've had a bad year, they're still coming 5th for clearances per game. So they win it at the coalface, they win it at the source, and then they it's just particularly their ball movement going inside 50. But they really kind of they set up their forward line where they kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of isolated. That's the word. Isolated Harry Mackay. And so there was a lot of space outside of Harry Mackay, and so they gave him a bit more freedom. And Sam Walsh just changes their midfield and changes their balance. He hits the 45s. He actually takes on the angle kicks, tries to change the angles, and then that naturally gives more confidence to the rest of the group to actually play that way too. Their backline looks really confident and strong. But again, I'm taking into account the opponent. Are we as bad as Port? That's what you have to say.
Well, you said they're depleted. There's nobody more depleted than us. But
Yeah.
arguably,
I think we've got a bit more spirit, though.
yeah, and I was about to say that we're having more of a dip. One factor we should have spoken about actually with the changes, but does Merritt's 250th, assuming he plays, have any kind of bearing on what we do, given how bad we've been in milestone games in the past?
No, I don't think it changes much, to be quite honest. Not in this day and age. I don't think
Well,
milestone games.
help having him back though.
Absolutely, absolutely, and he will play. Yeah, I have no doubt. I think he'll play. Put it this way: if there's any player at Essendon who you let choose whether they are right or not, it's him, and they will give him. They'll give him the marker to put his name on the list. He'll want to be in Melbourne for his 250th.
Just a point of order. Are you saying milestone games don't matter, but linking arms before the game when there's a anthem does matter? I'm just trying to unpack the differences between the two. And
when I say don't matter, I mean milestone games are so important. I love them, but they don't matter in terms of how a team plays. I don't think they play better in a 250th, but they matter in terms of the significance and the exceptional milestone that they are. Linking arms during an anthem is a direct mirror to the culture and the togetherness and the camaraderie that you have with a teammate and how locked in you are to be there with a group of players who are your teammates. But I don't see. I think if I went back over every milestone we've had, but hang on, we played very well last week in 2 metre Peters 150th. So are you saying that some milestones? So this is what I mean. I reckon if I went back, like what milestone are you saying 250th is so important that they get even more?
No, I think it's just a meme now that we don't play well in milestone games. It's just sort of something that's bandied about. You're right. You're probably right. The stats probably don't bear it out, but it's just.
And I watch a lot of football, and a lot of teams don't get up on milestones. So it's not an Essendon thing, and I think it's just something that Essendon fans like to add to the list of shit that they hold at their doorstep. So no, I don't buy into the milestone thing, but I think it will be wonderful. And I think it will be well deserved. It won't be a gift from the universe. It'll be something that's earned if we win. And I hope they can do it and not for the fans, for them, for the bebes, for the group, for the leaders who have hung in there, for Archie Roberts, for Kako, for who else has played every game, for Pryor, for Zach Merritt obviously doesn't. Who else? That's it now. I think it was 4 of them who had played every game, and now Zach Merritt missed the game. So. Yeah, Archie Roberts, Kako, and Pryor are the 3. There might be another one I'm forgetting, but who have played every game. So congrats to those 3. But, I think it would just be wonderful to go into the end of the year with that little reward for a lot of hard work. So how do you feel? Am I getting the sense that you give us no hope?
Yeah, I think we're too depleted. And I think it's also Carlton's last game of the year. Like everybody else's, other than us and Gold Coast, and there'll be players playing for their careers, players.
Pride,
probably giving their all, and pride, of course, absolutely.
They've fucked up their supporters this year, big time.
Well, they were going to be top 4, weren't they? Trending to premiership, and then round 1 that all collapsed.
After round 4, they were 0-4.
Yeah, exactly. But it was that Richmond game that just blew it out of the water. But I think we'll battle gamely again. I just think they've probably got too much, or too many senior players and too much experience, so they might win by 20 points, which will be no issue for me whatsoever. Who would have thought Kako, one of the guys that plays every game of the year, one of the 3.
Unbelievable. It's such a testament to him and especially now moving into the midfield where he's getting a lot more metres gained and a lot more hard work required, and his body's getting thrown around and banged up a lot more, albeit only 3 games now where he's pinch hit. But it's a real testament to him. It is. And keeping his body, and he's recovering really, really well post-game because his body is – I think there are a couple of times throughout the year where I was told he went for sneaky scans on certain body parts, but always came up perfectly fine. So, I could not be more impressed with him. I thought he was fantastic yet again. It's the perceived pressure. He's always on the move. He's always in the rear view. He's always in the perceived notion and energetically in the perceived mind of an opponent, because he's so buzzy and he's always playing close to the ground and his lower centre of gravity. It's always moving.
Well, he can't help being close to the ground.
No, but you know what I mean. Like he's got a real, and he plays taller than he should and bigger than he should. There are some contests where he has no right to be halving or bringing that ball to ground, and he just continues to do it. And I think it's underrated. His pressure and that, the small sneaky forward nous is what he's there for. But I think the halving of balls that he does and going up against bigger, more experienced bodies as he has this year has been underrated from him.
The thing that really surprises me in the heat of the contest in a pack is just how clean his hands are in picking up the ball and then disposing it, and the decisions he makes as well. He makes good decisions more often than not. So
very rarely, like I have to go and look up at how many frees he's given away, but very rarely is he clumsy with how hard he attacks a contest, or he's not doing much stupid stuff.
Well, contrast it, the exact opposite. And I was thinking about this watching him. I've never, at the same time, really admired a player and also want him delisted as Hobbs. It's like the opposite of Hobbs. Hobbs, he has a fucking go. He really does have a go. And I've always said you admire anybody in any walk of life that just has a go and gets the most out of themselves. But God, that man makes mistakes and makes errors and gives away free kicks, and he's almost like he's like a bull in a china shop, just trashing the china. Whereas Kako, you're right, he's the exact opposite.
Yeah, Hobbs, it's an interesting one because I thought Hobbs had probably one of his better games, and that's really telling. That's the telling part in that I think, you're right, it is. I feel sad saying this and I feel bad saying this, but I think his heights have been reached. I don't think his heights are as great as what I can see with Kako, how high he's got to go, and Archie Roberts. Yeah. Even Archie Perkins, I can see there's so much greater to reach. Yeah. With Hobbs, I think I see maybe there's one rung more, but I think that's about it. I don't think there's much movement there. I don't think there's much ladder climbing there. And again, I feel shockingly bad saying this because I could see on Friday night he was really trying to the best of what he had. He was doing the best he could. And he laid some incredibly good tackles, really good tackles. But unfortunately, I think his time at Essendon, we're in our upgrade era. That's what I'm calling our 2026 season. So it's the same with Todd Goldstein. Okay, but can we upgrade? Because how high is Todd Goldstein's ceiling right now? He's getting another year. He'll be another year next year. And we're in our upgrade era. So at this point of our evolution, I think Hobbs is fine, but is fine going to cut it in our upgrade era. It's a great way to put it.
It's a great way to put it, yeah. Particularly for a guy who doesn't have another string to his bow. It's not like he can play forward or back or...
And we can't say we haven't tried to develop him in that way. And sometimes, and it's just perfectly okay that he's not going to work out. And maybe he'll find a cookie cutter spot for himself somewhere else. But it's okay that he's not, that we want to upgrade and move beyond him in our upgrade era.
Yep. You ready for a couch question?
The penultimate couch question. Now, is there any chance that anybody can get a last couch question in, or have you already locked in the last one for next week?
Oh, we could take a late nomination, but of
Okay,
course, any couch questions
because I'll do a
will
deep
roll
dive
up.
this week.
Well, they'll roll over till next year anyway. So feel free to submit a couch question. This isn't me padding, by the way, because I said explicitly before we came on that I've got the question ready to go.
Yeah, you did.
But do you want to
You
tell
did.
people how they do it?
Yes. So, if you do want to submit a question anonymously, you just go to my Twitter page, my personal one, Fiona Rose T, and the NGL link is pinned to the top of the page. So no scrolling required. Just hop on that link. I cannot see where the question comes from. It can be about anything: life, sport, Essendon, pain, whatever you're struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Come to my couch, and I will help.
Essendon and Payne in the same.
Category.
They go together. Yeah,
I do. Like cheese and wine.
correct. All right, it's a good little segue because this is a diet-related question.
Oh,
Juice cleanse, yeah or nay?
I believe the saying is
Juice,
yay or nay.
well, YAH. Some of our beloved viewers and listeners do struggle with some basic English. Juice cleanse, yeah, YAH or nay?
All right, he's sticking with that. That's a nay. That's a big, big nay. I mean, I'd love to know what your goal is. Is your goal, are you doing the juice cleanse because you feel like you need a flush out? You've been drinking lots of alcohol, splurging lots. Do you need to detoxify your system? Or is weight loss your goal? Is toning your goal, building muscle your goal? Because without that knowledge, it's a bit hard to answer. But generally, I think if you told me any of those were your goals, I would say nay. There's just no way, even if you're detoxifying your system, there's just no way you're going to get the essential vitamins and minerals that you need for your system to support your, immunity and the way your body functions sufficiently. And I think you can get a really great do a really great detox without, completely eradicating food groups. I don't think you can get that from juice cleansers, and I think they can be really misleading and harmful, to be quite honest, in kind of perpetrating in a time where fat loss is everything and the image is everything, and glorifying certain bodies in a time where that's becoming more prominent. I think a juice cleanse completely sends the wrong message, in my opinion. That's a
I
really
agree.
short, sharp
No,
answer.
no, I agree entirely. You put it beautifully, actually. Whatever your goal, a juice cleanse, unless you want to spike your insulin with lots of sugar,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
take out all the fiber and all the nutrients and just get a sugar spike, in which case you might as well just have a Coke.
No, I believe when they say juice cleanse, there are certain companies that deliver to you fresh juices in terms of, so for every period of the day, they're not just fruit juices that are
Yeah,
80% sugar. They're actual squeezed and made fresh juices to support your system, but I just don't think it's adequate enough, and I don't think it's necessary. I think for the pain that you're going to go through to do that, and when by pain I mean hunger pain, it's just you're not getting the benefits that you think from it. Now,
well,
can you include some detoxifying juices in your day to support a bit of a immune system boost, or to support your digestion and your gut health? Absolutely, I'm a big advocate for that. Smoothies and juices that you can, adding ginger, lemon, celery, and cucumber is one of my favorites for immune health and digestion. But alone, no, no. Yeah, but in addition to a healthy diet, and if you want to do a detox or a detox cleanse, just focus on, like, when I feel like I need a bit of a detox, or I've just splurged on too many hot chips, because to be quite honest, that's as far as I go in terms of really spiking. That's the only thing I crave a lot of all of the time. So if I feel like I've been hitting the hot chips hard,
Yeah,
I
it's not exactly crack cocaine, is it? Hot chips, but anyway.
No. So I
That's your
could do
vice.
worse. I could
Yeah.
do worse. But for example, when I feel like I've been hitting it hard and I feel like my system is just blur, my energy's blur, I just go back. I just strip it all back and I just say, all right, fruit and veg, simple protein. So I try to stay away from the, bars and maybe anything that's kind of got artificial ingredients or that's high tox.
Processed food. Processed.
Anything processed, exactly. So I
Yep.
just strip it all back. I just hit chicken salads with chickpeas and and then a piece of steak, a piece of really good quality, not supermarket steak, but no shade if you do get your meat from the supermarket, just good quality steak with heaps like sweet potatoes and then more salad. So I just go back to the basics, and then like even there are some really good low processed breads nowadays that are really great, and I don't shy away from that. So that's my form of a detox. I just every now and then I'll have like a protein bar as low tox as I can get, or what else would I have? To supplement a yogurt, which is good too, but I'll just strip it all back and go completely just scrambled eggs for breakfast and an avocado, just so all fresh, all non-processed food, and that's my form of a detox. And I do that for 4 days straight, 3 days straight, and man, I tell you what, after that, you feel good.
Yeah, farm, not the factory, as they say.
But there's nothing wrong with the factory. A little bit of processed sugar and processed ingredients are completely normal, are completely fine, and are not going to inhibit your health in any way, shape, or form, providing they're not making up the majority of your diet. So if I'm adding a protein bar,
it's the general guidelines.
Yeah, if I'm adding a protein bar or you know what I love at the moment, like because I'm a bit of a sweet tooth. I do love a dessert. I know it's not great, but the Bulla smoothie ice creams, frozen yogurt. Sorry, the Bulla frozen yogurts,
yeah.
And they're like 94 cal per one. Now, is it processed? Yes, but that's okay because throughout the entire day, I've eaten mostly grains and fruits and veg. So it's within my calories, and it's just something I enjoy. So having processed food is totally fine and normal, and as I said,
I reckon.
so long
I
as
reckon if we all ate like our grandparents, we'd probably be a lot better off.
well, we can't do that because
lots of fruit, lots of meat, lots of garden vegetables that they would grow themselves.
yeah, well, that's what's going to be my thing because as much as I try and do fruit and veg, the pesticides and shit that's getting put into the soils these days and spraying, and you only have to go through. We've just gone through winter where I've been getting oranges fresh from trees all around, and then I ran out, and I've been a bit under the weather lately, so I bought some oranges, extra oranges this week from the supermarket, and all of a sudden the taste, having gone from a month, 2 months of eating oranges from the tree, having that, I think I might have to take this back to Coles. I think it's poisoned. I think it's off. Nah, it's just how they are. But when you go, that's how you know. Same with cucumbers, getting them from Nonno's tree and eating the cucumbers from the tree. Then you go back to the supermarket and you can taste the poison, like because your palate is not used to it. So what's that saying? May as well just eat processed, right? No, not that far, but we're getting the point.
Yeah, or just move to a suburb like I am, where there's lots of Europeans. You'll never want for lemons and oranges. There'll always be a neighbour who'll give them to you. All right.
Well, just plant your own citrus trees. That's the aim.
You get one of these dwarf lemons. Have you seen those?
Yes. Even the mandies have been going crazy. If you go for walks throughout the suburbs, all the citrus trees are they're going crazy. The mandarins have been going crazy too. So plant your trees, plant your herbs. You'll be right.
Yep. Beautiful. Just like we're planting the seeds for next year. Just to tie it all back nicely.
That was a bit clunky, but given it's the penultimate Fiona's forecast, I'll let you have it.
Yeah, no one's listening anymore. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to bugger off.
Thank you very much. I'm very sad that I will only be seeing your face for this show one more time for the year because the AFL is making us play on a Wednesday night. So the Fiona forecast will be on a Monday night
God.
anyway. That's a problem
That's
for
next
next
week's
week,
problem.
right?
Yep.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Solution. A pleasure as
No worries.
always.
Go Bombers.
Hey. Alrighty, everyone. That is the forecast wrapped up for this week. Team selection show will be Wednesday night this week at 7:30. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the Twix show last night with Pommy. As mentioned and as said many times, next week will be the Twix low, a la the Brownlow. We have gone through all the games and awarded all the Twix points. So there will be a winner. There will be a King Twix that we will award next week. We're going to get dressed up and we'll do that show next week. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you very soon.